Explain this deal for us, because there are some names in here that, certainly household names, but also complicated relationships that these companies already have, not necessarily with each other.
Yeah, I mean, look, the ecosystem that we had so far, Microsoft, OpenAI, and Google partnering with Anthropic and Amazon partnering with Anthropic, that seems to be changing right here. And you saw Microsoft adopting Anthropic, and
Microsoft, a big owner of OpenAI,
actually incorporating Anthropic in their Office 365 suite. And now we also know Oracle has this $300 billion deal with OpenAI. So it doesn't surprise me that, Amazon and OpenAI are partnering, because OpenAI has the best models. But when you look at their token consumption, Google's token consumption is higher. So they are looking for more capacity through all the different avenues they can.
Why does OpenAI need Amazon for NVIDIA capacity, when NVIDIA is an investor in OpenAI?
Because OpenAI cannot use NVIDIA directly. It needs a cloud provider. You fine-tune the LLMs on enterprise data. Where does the enterprise data reside? It resides in the 3 cloud providers with Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. And we know.
But why not use Azure from Microsoft?
Because Azure doesn't have as much capacity, and now Azure is also using, as I said, Microsoft is using Anthropic.
Okay.
Google is also
Talk about
signed a multi-year deal.
frenemies, Carol.
I never feel so stupid when we're talking about this stuff. So help me understand, because it does feel like this increasingly tangled web, but it may not feel that way to you. And I'm just, all I see is money, 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 spend, spend, spend. And I keep thinking about ROI, return on investment. We have talked with you, especially with the hyperscalers, that we do see that ROI.
Yeah.
I don't know though, is it still continuing? What about, I don't know, is there so much more growth to come? And those data centers, are all of them maxed out, and that's why we need to continue building?
Yes, and I'll frame it this way. This earnings season, we learned that Microsoft's $93 billion Azure business grew 39%, and they were capacity constrained. They said they would have grown over 40%.
That's crazy, right?
So just think about how much AI has added to that Azure growth. It's close to 20%. Cloud growth rate is 20%. That's what you see from Amazon number, is $130 billion business growing at 20%. Why is Azure growing 39%? Because of that 19 to 20% incremental AI growth that they are getting from AI.
But could it be, Mandeep, that we're seeing growth now, and then all of a sudden people are going to be like, I don't know that I'm actually going to I'm going to get the payoff from this ongoing longer term. Could that possibly play out?
I mean, the 2 metrics I remind investors of is, one is the infrastructure growth that we have seen for hyperscale cloud guys, and the other one is token consumption. If people are using AI, that will get reflected in token consumption. And tokens is nothing but your use of AI, whether it's in a coding agent, customer service use case. And so that is a metric to keep an eye on.
But we've talked with you that at some point people are going to have to pay for this stuff, right? And that maybe we won't use it as much as we might be right now using it for, give me a picture of a horse, or tell me what to do with the stuff in my fridge. Because there is a cost to this.
Yes, and which is why we use a subscription model for pretty much all of this. None of it is an ad-driven model. Why? Because traditionally Google search was inexpensive when it comes to rolling out to users, and then you could show an ad and make up. The business model for AI is very different.
Right.
It requires a lot more compute, and you can only monetize it best using a subscription model, which is what we see in a lot of these products.
So we're all going to be paying subscription for this. Everybody, businesses, going forward forever. Even consumers.
ChatGPT subscriptions, they cost up to $200 per month. So there is no free lunch here.
Go. I could talk an hour on this.
You're just back from 3 countries in 6 days. We only have a minute left. Where'd you go? What'd you learn?
Well, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Tokyo. And all 3 are excited about AI. The nuance is in how they are looking at AI deployments. In the case of Hong Kong and China, AI optimizations, compute optimizations are front and center. They want to use open source. They want cheapest form of AI. That's where, Singapore and Tokyo are more, using Western LLMs. And look, everyone is excited about finding out what the use cases are. They want to build local data centers for having that AI capacity. And this build out is global. I mean, it's definitely something that we are seeing across the board with all countries.
That Blackwell chip, Nvidia, are they expecting that they're going to have access to it at some point?
I think everyone wants allocation. In the case of certain countries, the sovereign part is not that clear yet.
Okay.
But Singapore government, for example, is very advanced. So in their case, you could see them being front and center when it comes to deploying their own AI.